Have you ever done something truly evil and destroyed someone's whole life? Well, I have. I was 19 and about to graduate from high school. But then my math teacher, Mr. Cumberbatch, told me I'd failed his class and would have to repeat the year. I was devastated because I had already made plans to go to college. So I started crying and begged him to show mercy and let me pass. But he said, no, and shook his head. In a last attempt, I gave him a big hug and said, "Please, Mr. Cumberbatch, isn't there anything I can do?" He pushed me away and said, "No, it's too late now." But I showed persistence and kept begging him, saying, "Please, please, please, Mr. Cumberbatch, isn't there anything I can do for you?" Finally, he had a change of heart and wrote down an address on a paper and said, "Okay, come here on Saturday, 6 p.m. We will do some math exercises, and if you do well, I will change your grade and let you pass." I gave him one last hug and said, "Thank you, Mr. Cumberbatch, you are the best." When Saturday arrived, I was very nervous. I didn't know if I was going on a date or if I was getting a private math lesson. But just to be sure, I dressed myself up. I put on my old school uniform, but made a few changes to look as exciting as possible. When I arrived at his house, he opened the door and said, "Come in, you're looking gorgeous today." I responded with, "Thank you, Mr. Cumberbatch, you're looking good too." We sat down at a desk and he told me to solve some math problems, but I couldn't focus. Mr. Cumberbatch was so close to me and I realized how attractive he was. I mean, I was 19 and he was only 10 years older than me. What turned me on the most was the authority he had over me. He could decide whether I would pass the year or repeat it. At one point, I just stared into his eyes and hoped he would kiss me. I was too nervous, so instead, I kissed him. It wasn't technically illegal, but we still broke the rules of our school. A teacher-student relationship was strictly prohibited, but that's what made it so exciting.
Surprise, Sydney.